sitting right there.
Oh, I know what I want to tell you. Hang on, let me tell you into the mic. Let me find it. Yes. Oh, okay. So, that's my trick for the day. Cool. Welcome, everyone. I'm really happy to get to be here. I usually have a conflicting thing, and so I catch up on the YouTube, but I get to be here in real time, and I'm very happy about that. I'm Katie. Have all of you been here before? Is anyone at Alembic for the first time right now? Hi. Welcome. Thank you, because you give me an excuse to do this thing. That
Hey, Katie, what's an Alembic?
Katie, what's an Alembic?
Do you know someone asked me that actually the other day, like with a straight face, like at a party? It was
At a
great.
party?
Yes, I got to do this at a party, at my house.
Party.
So an alembic is an alchemical vessel for transformation, and the alchemists believed that what you put in the alembic would not transform unless you set up conditions in the world correctly and in your mind correctly. So an alembic is a sacred container where mind and matter meet and transform. And so that's the name we chose for this space. Alchemy was also like this very interesting zone where magic and science and spiritual practice were not all that different, actually. And that's what we're doing here too. So in addition to running all the classes and workshops we do around meditation and movement, we are also setting up a neuroscience lab, and we are teaching classes and doing work around like psychedelic preparation and integration and psychedelic culture. No navigation yet, although Berkeley just decriminalized, so stay tuned.
Say that again, what?
We're doing psychedelic. So an alembic.
No, not that. What just got legalized? That's
So Berkeley just decriminalized like basically everything that grows out of the ground.
great.
Yeah, there's a peyote like clause, but anything that is a plant or a fungi is now decriminalized. So we've got to talk to our lawyers. If you're the police, look the other way and figure out like what's okay. But so right now we're just focused on preparation, integration. Hopefully we'll be able to do more navigation coming up in the future. Right? Yeah. Releasing your default network.
Yes.
So that's the wider alembic. I want to let you all know that for the entire time since we've started, we have never had a beginner class. So all the classes are like this one, where they're advanced and they're for advanced practitioners like yourselves. And we're kind of in a position where it's hard for people to just sort of walk in off the street. Not impossible, but you've got to be pretty brave to be like, okay, I'm going to walk in off the street and like do some chanting and that's it for a long time. So we're starting a 4-week class that is designed for people who are newer to practice. And that starts next Wednesday, not tomorrow, the Wednesday after. It's 4 weeks, 1 hour a week by donation. And you do not have to come to all 4 classes, but it's strongly encouraged because each class builds off the next one. So if you have a friend who's like, oh, I know about meditation, I did this app, but they haven't yet like sat, like they don't know how cool it is to sit in a room with people. Yeah. Or if you have a partner who's like, what is this weird hobby you go off and do? This would be the class for them. So it's called Building a Personal Meditation Practice. It's taught by me. And and it starts next Wednesday at 7:00. And that is all. Otherwise, I'll just reiterate, very happy to be here with you, and I'm looking forward to sitting together.
Yes, good. Thank you. Good. Okay, so welcome everybody. I am Chandra. It's nice to see you. I think I want to just, from the get-go, let you know I'm healing from spine surgery, and it's taken a little longer than I would like. I might need to teach or guide meditation from a lying down position, or I might even stand up and teach from time to time, and invite you to listen to your body also. If you want to do standing meditation or lying meditation, that's okay too. Sometimes it's not easy for us. We come off of a work day, often sitting at a desk, maybe. It can be hard to sit all day long and then sit again at night. So I also want to take this opportunity to encourage you to listen to your body. The other thing I also want to warn you about is I have a TENS unit on my back. It's like a little electrical current that helps with pain. And sometimes it beeps when it goes off, and then I got to start it again. It's just a tiny little beep, like people in the second row and beyond probably won't hear it. But if you guys hear it, that's me. It's not your annoying neighbor who forgot to turn off their phone. Turn off your phone, everybody, if you forgot. All right, so I think that's all I wanted to say about that. Okay, good. Let's do our opening prayer. So when you came in today, you probably got a sheet of paper that has some mantras on it, and at the very top is our prayer that we do at the beginning of every class. We'll do that. Let's do that 11 times tonight. And then I'm going to teach you a new mantra that we'll do with the harmonium. All right. So this is a prayer to the goddess as Narayaṇi, very much linked with Tare, who's this second mantra is devoted to as well. So we're chanting to the goddess in her many forms here. And this is a shloka. It's a 4-line prayer. So I'll say one line, you can repeat, and so on, and then second time around, we'll join in together and do 11 times total. Okay? All right. So let's close our eyes and settle in. Take some deep breaths into your belly and feel that those breaths are helping you root into your own body, your own experience now as you transition from your busy day to a more contemplative space. That we're here as a collective, but we're also embarking on the inner solo journey, and turning inwards is that first step. I'm going to do next a couple out breaths. Feel any tension that's unnecessary that you're holding, melting down off your body like you're letting an old cloak fall off your shoulders. And often it's said that when life is challenging and we're face planted on the earth, it can be very helpful to chant, to sing, to open our hearts and our mouths, and sing in a group or alone. And so for that reason, I also rely on this as a very important part of my spiritual practice. And that's why I share it with you. And so let's open our eyes if you need to see the words. There's English translation for you to look at on your own in your own time. We'll chant the Sanskrit. So listen and then repeat. Śaraṇāgata dīnārtha, Śaraṇāgata dīnārtha, paritrāṇa parāyaṇe, paritrāṇa parāyaṇe, Sarvasyārti hare Devi, Sarvasyārti hare Devi, Narayaṇi namostute, Narayaṇi namostute, Śaraṇāgata dīnārtha, paritrāṇa parāyaṇe, Sarvasyārti hare Devi, Narayaṇi namostute, Śaraṇāgata dīnārtha, paritrāṇa parāyaṇe, Sarvasyārti hare Devi Nārāyaṇi namostute. Śaraṇāgata dīnārtha, paritrāṇa parāyaṇe, Sarvasyārti hare Devi Nārāyaṇi namostute. Śaraṇāgata dīnārtha, paritrāṇa parāyaṇe, Sarvasyārti hare Devi Nārāyaṇi namostute. Śaraṇāgata dīnārtha, paritrāṇa parāyaṇe, Sarvasyārti hare Devi Nārāyaṇi namostute. Śaraṇāgata dīnārtha, paritrāṇa parāyaṇe, Sarvasyārti hare Devi Nārāyaṇi namostute. Śaraṇāgata dīnārtha, paritrāṇa parāyaṇe, Sarvasyārti hare Devi Nārāyaṇi namostute. Śaraṇāgata dīnārtha, paritrāṇa parāyaṇe, Sarvasyārti hare Devi Nārāyaṇi namostute. Śaraṇāgata dīnārtha, paritrāṇa parāyaṇe, Sarvasyārti hare Devi Nārāyaṇi namostute. Śaraṇāgata dīnārtha, paritrāṇa parāyaṇe, Sarvasyārti hare Devi Nārāyaṇi namostute. Śaraṇāgata dīnārtha, paritrāṇa parāyaṇe, Sarvasyārti hare Devi Nārāyaṇi namostute. So Tare Aparajita is the 8th Tara in the 21 Taras pantheon. So Tara means star. Her name also means the savioress, she who saves beings from foundering in the ocean of samsara. So the star has also that kind of double meaning of guiding, journeyers in their life and across the oceans. Samsara is often likened to an ocean, a vast ocean of suffering. Samsara literally means a cycle or circle of birth and rebirth, birth and rebirth, birth and rebirth, suffering caused from ignorance. And so Tara, in her many forms, and this ancient tantric text from the 11th century sings her praise in 21 shlokas. So there are said to be 21 Taras, but all the commentaries, all the teachings say she's limitless like the stars. So she's like all of us, we're all emanation, we're all made of stars, we're all emanations of the divine, whether we're masculine, feminine, non-binary, gender non-conforming, you name it. We all have a spark of Buddha nature. You call it Tare nature too, because she's Buddha, female Buddha of compassion. So this particular Tara is the 8th in the 21 sequence, and her name, Tare Aparajita, means literally she who is invincible. The invincible Tara is what I call her. I wrote a book on the 21 Taras that's coming out in December, so I'm very intimate with these ladies. And this mantra, I love this mantra. all of the 21 Tare mantras are made out of her main mantra, which is Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture. And then if you skip down, Svaha. And that is called her 10-syllable mantra. Yeah? Om Tare, everybody repeat after me. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Svaha. Yeah, you know it, so you don't have to repeat after me. Okay. And then, so basically that 10-syllable mantra, I'm not saying the middle words yet, but just that 10-syllable mantra that we recited could be applied to all the taras. You could just say that and call upon any of them. But then each one has their own specific meaning before the Svaha. And so Om is the universal sound of consciousness, often the beginning of mantras. Tare is the vocative form of her name, Tara. So it's, oh, Tara. It's like we're calling to her. Okay, vocative grammar. Tuttare is, you see her name in there again at the end. Tut also could mean power. So, oh, powerful Tara. Then Ture means swift, and she's particularly known as a swift goddess. She comes when beings call her, open their hearts to her and call for help. Much like Narayaṇi, that we prayed to a moment ago. And then Svaha means so be it. But then we have Daha. I know it looks like Pacha. It's Daha, D-A-H-A. Daha, Pacha, Hom, Part, Svaha. So Daha, Pacha literally means it's like to burn and to cook. So put together, I like to say it means to incinerate. To incinerate. And what are we incinerating with her mantra? What does she incinerate? Is all these, it's kind of like the things that hold us down, the so-called trivial things that like block our spiritual progress, our joy, our fruition. So, and then the next word is a seed syllable, hong, hong, and it symbolizes the enlightened mind. Part is another seed syllable. It has a dot under the T, so it's a retroflexive ka. Part. Try it. Part. Part. Good. Part. And I love this sound. I mean, it means to cut through, cuts through delusion. Part. It's used in the chut practice. It's used in poa, the transference of consciousness practice. And it has many different meanings and uses. But I learned just a few years ago when I was researching for my book that the source of this sound, it's like an onomatopoeia, right? And the source of it comes from the old charnel ground days of the yogis and yoginis who would live in the charnel grounds and practice there and meditate on impermanence and, really put their practice to the test through being around so much death and impermanence. The sound part is the sound they heard when the human skull bursts. Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa. So, I've done a lot of Homa, which is Vedic, or not, it's not Vedic, it's Tantric Hindu fire ceremonies. One of my friends and mentors, Dr. Robert Svoboda, that's his main practice. So whenever he'd come to town, he'd stay with us and we do Homa. And instead of putting a human skull in the fire, the tradition is to get a little brown coconut. And it kind of looks like a skull because it has these two eyes. It has 3 dots, it can look like a nose and eyes. But there's a certain point in the fire, halfway through usually, where the fire gets so hot, it starts to break down the coconut, and you can hear the coconut water, kind of like sizzling out. And sometimes, if we're lucky, it'll go, pop! It'll pop like that. It'll make that sound. It's pretty cool. And the whole feeling is like, pop! It's like to cut through the clouds of your ignorance and bring you to clarity. And it's used often in meditation practice where you'll be doing even just shamatha. And Milarepa, one of the great yogi saints, taught this, and Machigladran, that's a woman yogi saint, also predominantly taught this practice where you could just be doing like what we do in this class, shamatha, you could do breath awareness or sky gazing, any kind of settling the mind in its natural state. And if you notice that you're starting to drift, the instruction is to sound and then rest. Rest in the after effect. And that sound cuts through the distractions. So you guys really could do that. You could do that. Yeah. You could do that here. When you're singing it, you don't have to yell it like that. There's also there's like soft singings of it that are more like invitations if you're doing a chud feast. It's really cool. We could talk about that a lot actually. But the mantra, let's say the whole thing together. So Om Tare Tuttare Ture. Repeat after me that part. Om Tare Tuttare Ture. Daha Pacha.
Daha Pacha.
Hom Phat.
Phat.
Good. Svaha.
Svaha.
Together. Om Tare Tuttare Ture. Daha Pacha. Hom Phat. Svaha. It's fun, isn't it? Phat. Yes. She's red. She's dark red. So she's fierce and she's dark red. Yeah, good question. I forgot to say that. So she's got this, she's showing her fangs, her dakini fangs. And she's wrathful. She's a wrathful deity. Dark red color, which means she's associated with the Padma family. If you're into the mandala stuff. Tare Aparajita, she's really cool. Okay, so here's a melody for it, and so we'll sing it for a while. Okay, so I'll play the melody a bit so you can hear where it's going, and then I'll call you, and then you'll pick up the phone and you'll respond. Okay, so here's my beep. Restart. 10's unit's amazing. If you guys ever have chronic pain or like tear a hamstring or have shoulder pain, it's not that expensive. You can get it at CVS. And it's just like stick it on your body wherever you need it. And the electrical currents kind of put the pain. It's like I'm getting these little believe me, I was impressed with how much I can feel this. It's really helpful. And you can use it as much as you want. It's not like a drug that you can overdo it. TENS, TENS, TENS. It's like transdermal electrical shock treatment. No, I'm kidding. Something like that. Okay. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Daha Pacha Hom Phat Svaha. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Daha Pacha Hom Phat Svaha. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Daha Pacha Hom Phat Svaha. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Daha Pacha Hom Phat. Good. Listen. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Daha Pacha Hom Phat Svaha. Om. Now you're doing it. Ture Daha Phat, Svaha, Om Tare, Tare. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha. Just listen the first time. Om Phat, Svaha, Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Your turn. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Now listen. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Good. Sing it out. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Your turn. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Om Phat, Svaha. Om Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, heart. Svaha, Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, heart. Svaha, Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Svaha. We can sing together. Tare, Tuttare, Ture, Daha, Pacha, Svaha. Now we've done our mantra yoga. Now let's stand up. Do a little movement. And then we'll sit or lie or stand. You could even walk. We won't do walking meditation tonight, but that's also an option. Okay, so here's a nice option for a standing meditation practice. If you ever feel like just doing that instead of a seated one, you could put the right hand and then the left on the navel. Your heels gently kissing and the toes slightly turned out. Yeah, you can stand on the floor, on your mat, whatever feels okay for your stability. Yeah, want to feel like you're connecting with the earth. And feel the soles of the feet soften against the hardness of the floor, like the tissue spread, the bones spread. Allow the eyes to remain slightly open, gazing at a comfortable angle towards the floor. And then bring the tip of the tongue to rest at the upper palate, just above the front top teeth. So this is very similar to your posture in seated meditation. Your chin is slightly drawn in, lengthening the back of the neck. Shoulders relaxed, chest buoyant. Feel the breath beneath the palms of your hands. And let the mind inhabit the whole global field of the body, from the soles of the feet to the crown of the head, periphery of the skin. See if you can have that global awareness of the body while we do our joint mobilizations. This standing practice takes about 7, 8, 9 minutes. And now let's release the hands down, open the heels, step your right foot back behind you a little bit, place the weight on top of the toes, make sure you've got room, and then start to rotate the ankle out, around. We'll do 10 reps. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. So now stand on that foot and really root down, because it's a balancing thing too here with this. So draw the navel back towards the spine. Stand in the firm in the standing leg. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and reverse. 1, 2, 3. It's easier if the foot's a little farther back. Yeah, you need to put it a little farther back. Yeah, and the hands are down by your side. Yeah. 10. Okay, stand. Now we come up to the head and we work our way down the body. We'll do the neck, so now release the chin down, and then start to move the chin to the right shoulder, up and around, and then down to the left. We'll do 5 circles each direction. Small, medium, large circles, whatever is good for your neck. If anything hurts, then ease off, make smaller circles. Again, global awareness of the body. So as you're moving the neck and the head, the mind melts and lands down into the feet, soles of the feet on the earth. Coming to the chest and then reverse. 1. Eyes can be open or closed, whatever feels good. If you get dizzy, you can do lateral stretches with the head like this. Sometimes people get dizzy, that's okay. 1 more. Breathing. Coming around to center, looking forward. Shoulders are next. Forward, up, down, and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do the regulars have this memorized yet? Good. Reverse. 2, 3. You'll find this also in some martial arts traditions too, with variations. It's very common. 9 and 10. This is also kind of lost in the Hatha yoga practices. With the yoga styles that came to the West, this didn't make it with all of those. Reverse now. But it's found in some of the old Hatha yoga texts, particularly a text called the Hatha Tattva Kaumudi. And in that it says you can work up towards 108 reps in each direction. It's often used therapeutically. And now release, spiral to the right and then the left. Helicopter arms. Careful not to hit your knee. Front hand taps the crease of the shoulder. The back hand taps the kidneys. Head, spine, turn. Breathing naturally. If you know Ujjayi, you can do it, but it's not emphasized in these warm-ups here. You're just breathing nice, even breath. Relaxing tension from the face, the throat, shoulders, the spinal column. We do 10 in each direction. If you really pay attention, you might even notice that the lungs breathe themselves because of the movement you're making. They kind of get squeezed and released, squeezed and released. Okay, last couple. Last time to your left, and then release the arms down. The hips start circling. 1, 2, 3. Let the face go really soft. Chest relax, the arms dangling. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're just doing the hips. It's kind of like you're just cool up above, and you're just moving the hips like you're drawing a circle with your tailbone. And stay within your sphere. Don't let the eyes kind of drift or watch other people. Just stay within like your bubble, your experience, your body. Good. And then bring the feet together. All of this is prep for meditation. It's not like, I get to space out and then suddenly focus when I'm sitting. Like, start your meditation now. Let the mind get single focused in the body with the movement. You're making circles with the knees. You're keeping the heels on the ground. And you're feeling your breath in the body. And then reverse. Because when it comes time to sit, I'm going to ask you not to move, right? As much as possible, you sit still. So this is your time to get your movement out. Want to fidget? Fidget now. but focused fidgeting. This is called focused fidgeting for therapeutic reasons. Okay, feet are hip width distance apart. You're going to bend the knees with an out breath, hips go back, and then they shift forward as you do a wave that ripples up through the spine. I'm just doing small little therapeutic ones because of my body right now, but you can make bigger waves if that feels good. It's like a ripple up from the soles of the feet all the way up through the crown of the head. 5, 6. You can close your eyes and really let yourself get into it. Don't hold back here. I remember when I taught shadow yoga for years. I taught down in Brazil for a while. And because often Brazilians grow up dancing way more than we do up here in America, they got this move really easily. Whereas a lot of Americans just kind of just, I'm not looking at you and I'm not judging you. But often, a lot of the Western, Northern white people don't know how to do it very well. They're kind of stiff, So let just kind of like your seaweed in the ocean. Okay, good. Some white people can dance. Did you see that The Jerk is on Netflix now? I kind of just hadn't seen it in ages. It's so funny, the first opening scenes. Did you ever watch The Jerk? It's like I was born a poor white boy. He grew up in a black family from the South, and they tried to teach him how to dance, and he couldn't dance. Okay, it was so funny. Steve Martin in his early days. You guys are too young. You guys are so young. You gotta watch The Jerk. Steve Martin. Just don't have to watch the whole thing. Just watch the first 10 or 15 minutes. It's dated, but it's a funny premise because he can't dance. He can't get it. His wonderful family's trying to get him to have rhythm. And he's like, I can't do it. And then he branches out and he leaves home and then he hears kind of more like swing, but like white swing. And suddenly he's like, oh, he can do it. It's like white music, he could do it. Okay, so. Wow, where'd that come from? What are we doing? Are we in a meditation class? Oh. Zumba! That would be fun. I love Zumba. Zumba's fun. I actually was a dance teacher in my 20s, in my 18, 19, 20. And then I got into yoga. So, okay, so we did that. What do we do now? Oh, yeah, okay, hip width distance apart. Inhale, raise the arms. Chin down. Him and Bernadette Peters have a really funny disco scene, too. It's really funny. I kind of fast forwarded to that because that was really good. You gotta watch that one. She's so cute. Exhale. Good. Now we're going to do a little squat if you can. So what we do is we lower the hands here, and when they pass in front of the heart, watch my hands. You bring the backs of the hands together and you open them like that. And then you're going to stand on your hands. And when you do that, you're also kind of moving your feet a little bit closer together. So maybe just watch this. So I've inhaled for the 4th time, exhaling down. And then I bring the hands together, open. As I heel toe my feet a little closer together, I squat. Now, if you can come all the way down, then you're going to stand on your hands, and the hands are pointing out to the sides like that, okay? If you can't come all the way down, that's okay. You can do the whole thing with the hands, but then you can come here up. Or you can touch the floor, right? Okay, so let's try. Let's all inhale. Exhale. When the hands pass in front of the heart, they open. Heel toe the feet at the same time. Then, if you can, place the hands underneath the feet. Inhale as you look up and pucker the lips. Breathe in. And close the mouth. Breathe out through the nose. Relax the shoulders, turn the face down as you exhale. Then inhale, pucker, and look up. Breathe in through the mouth. This is called Kaki Mudra. It's like a bird beak. And exhale through the nose as you look down. Last time. Inhale. It's like you're drinking water through your beak, but you're breathing air. You make a sound and then exhale. Good. Okay, inhale, come off the hands, Uttanasana. Exhale, bow the head, 3 breaths. This is our last move, so really let the head dangle. Traction the neck. If you want, you can nod the head yes and no. And then when you're ready, come on down to a seated position or lying position. Make sure you've got everything you need for your lying position. You can have 2 zabutons too, make a bed. You want to be on the ground? Yeah, no problem. You're gonna be there for a while. Make sure your sleeping's happy. Okay? I'm gonna take this if you want. Can we just? Yeah. You know, the Buddha taught 4 positions. One is lying, one is seated, one is standing, and the other is walking. So I'm breaking the mold here. So find a comfortable seat or a lying position. Make sure your head is supported. Make sure that your knees, if you're on the floor, lying down, supported, but also if you're sitting up too. Notice if the knees and the hips are in a good place. If you're seated, it's nice to have the hips a little higher than the knees. You can rock your pelvis forward and back a little bit, finding your plumb line. And then finding your central axis, coming to a still point. You're sitting for 35 minutes. Maybe a little less tonight, About a 20-minute sit. Spend some time breathing and just feeling how you are in this moment without doing anything, without applying any technique. Just coming home to this simple, relaxed experience of being present in the moment. Finally, being a human being. And really establishing the motivation to sit as still as possible for this 20-minute sit. Releasing the impulse to fidget or shift or change. But if you absolutely have to move, do it in complete mindfulness without losing that thread of moment to moment awareness. So let's all make that internal commitment right now. It's said that if you start off your sit with this nice focused clarity, the rest of the sit will go well. Whereas if you start distracted and kind of vague, it's hard to get that clarity after the fact. So let's start off on the right foot. Now bring your attention even more tethered to the breath as this gift of an anchor that's always here with us. And we take it for granted, the breath. It's an automatic, but also voluntary movement. Release any effort with the breath and let it settle into a natural rhythm like a sleeping baby, letting go of any control, or simply bringing awareness, mindfulness to the natural breath, its texture, its temperature, its depth or shallowness, length. Such a beauty coming to this simplicity in such a complex life. It's like you're drinking from the mountain spring. Each moment of shamatha, calm abiding within this continuous thread of awareness, is like threading the needle. And through that portal is the light of samadhi, of wisdom. It's always there. It's like we enter a vast space that's been veiled by the discursive mind. Can you thread that needle? Let distraction fall away, sloughing off like dead skin, and enter into that luminous, radiant space of your own awareness. Or you could feel each moment of clarity like poking holes in the darkness, letting the light through like the stars in the sky, feeling them like little holes of light, where the luminosity of the nature of your own mind and shine through the darkness. It's called the timuk, the dark fogginess, ignorance. And feel yourself flooded with light, the starlight, suffusing your body and your mind. That's the essential meaning of Daha. And if you wish, this is your choice. I invite you to open the eyes if you aren't open already. Feel free to remain with the eyes closed if you prefer. We're shifting into the same thing from a different angle. So now the mind itself becomes the anchor. The breath is still your ground, your base. Become more aware of the space of the mind, permeated by light and dark, stillness and movement. And continue to maintain that stability within the quality of luminous awareness. Selwa of radiance, luminosity of mind. And the mind is present, and yet it is empty of solidity, empty of reifying these thoughts that come and go within our mind. Again, these poking holes of light within the darkness of the solidity of thoughts of I'm this, I'm that, or evaluating and planning. Feel that as sticky tar or dark cloud or block, something heavy. This quality of luminosity begins to permeate through that and dissolve, showing you the empty nature of all of those thoughts. They appear, but they're empty of solidity. And again, you're left with the radiance of mind. Luminosity and emptiness. Qualities of awareness. Stabilize, rest in that. Even distraction or lethargy or fatigue, boredom, all of that's fine. It's all creative displays of that awareness. There's room for all of that to rise and pass within that broader, spacious awareness. So in this practice, like fatigue is not a problem. Can the fatigue just be there within that broader space of luminous awareness? Can even the frustration of here I am distracted again, can frustration and distraction just be held within that broader space of the stability of awareness? In this way, nothing is a problem. Because it doesn't take you by the jugular. You're not identifying onto it. You're simply observing it. A mind movie, impermanent, ever-changing. And yet find that quality of awareness that is unchanging and rest in that. That space between thought, that quality that pervades thought. In the last few minutes of our practice, we're going to see how this part feels. And if you're totally clear and undistracted, we can still practice it. But if you are also distracted, it's a good time. And it comes from the belly. It's like a and feel that energy cutting through space. But we'll do it all together. Okay, so don't do it yet. It's a and when you do it, have that feeling of cutting through delusion, and then rest in the immediacy of the mind after that sound. So we'll do it together. Let's inhale and begin. Let's do it again. Inhale. And rest. And last time. Inhale. Mm-hmm. Let's come back. Yeah, feel free to, lean forward, stretch the spine. Stretch out your legs if you need to. Maybe I'd like to hear from just one person. How was that part? How did that feel?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I could feel the clarity, but wanted to keep doing it to practice.
Yeah, you can do it. What they say is go in nature where nobody can hear you, and then you can really yell loud. But yeah, it's like it can be hard to get it, but what helps me is I feel the navel pushing back, and it pushes out the air. So it's like a. Want to try? Let's try. Yeah, it takes some practice. Think of it like a cutting. Yeah.
So you like feel.
I hope I'm not hurting those people. Huh?
You feel into your stomach, like
It kind of
I see. Okay.
pulls back and it pushes the air up and out. Yeah, it does.
What was interesting for me that I felt that even without making the sound, when I just push the air out, in a second I go to that like alternate state, just like, and it was even without the sound, just like pushing out and like moving my belly. I was like going there. It was just interesting that it was
Yeah.
the hard movement and like pushing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it could be just more of a breath practice than a sound practice. So maybe you're at work and you can't make the sound, but you could go, you could cut through. Sometimes, we notice we're like looping. This cuts the loop. This is really, see if you can bring that into your life. Okay, we have a slogan to explore, and I love this one. This is Lojong mind training, these little one-liners. It's number 13. It's such a good one. I'm going to kind of like, cliff note this one. It's quick and concise, but it's so juicy. Be grateful to everyone. Be grateful to everyone. Wow. Be grateful to everyone. I've been thinking about this week, and it's also about this one. I think a lot of us need to start here. So often we beat up on ourselves, our body, we're sick, what's wrong? My friend works a lot with cancer patients. We were talking about this slogan, and she said, often folks who are going through cancer, they get angry at their body. Why me? Why can't you fight it? So be grateful. The body's trying, it's doing its best. So notice that, what can we be grateful for? What is going right with the body? I wanted to start with that because I think for a lot of us, that's a challenging one, and we might not even notice that we are we're angry at ourselves or abandoning ourselves. Like, we don't listen to our body. Our body sends us signals, but we don't listen. Why? Because we're taught to not trust the body. Right? This is all like Puritan, crazy insanity that took over the world, our parts of the world, where it's like, don't trust your body, don't trust your instinct, it's wrong, it's sinful. But like when we really learn to listen to our gut, there's a lot of beautiful truth in there, and we could probably save a lot of time and medical bills if we listened. Yeah, so that's also about being grateful to the body. Why? Because we're listening and we're not abandoning it. Would you abandon your child? So why do we abandon ourselves? So that's been my angle on this week. Maybe because where I'm at with my body. But the classic teaching of this is also about others. And what they say in the commentary is that this being grateful to everyone is the opposite of the tendency to blame others. We blame others for our problems. The prior slogan, do you remember what that was last week? Yeah, good. And the mudra was? Yeah, good. Remember that. So drive all blames into one was last week, right? So that slogan was challenging us to move away from blaming the outer world, right? Blaming those people out there. So that prior slogan addresses our tendency to blame others. And this slogan, what's interesting is I really like this. This slogan also, I wouldn't have gone here myself, honestly, but it's pretty cool. This slogan counteracts our entitlement. Entitlement. What it's saying is that we are here in this moment because of others. Whether it's positive or negative, we're here because of others. That this life is not a meritocracy, right? We're here because of our parents, because of the people who fed us and raised us and educated us. gave us the jobs, the marriages, the families, all of this, not just the people, but the animals. And then the circumstances, the causes and conditions, right? Why are we here? Why are we in this moment experiencing our success or failures, this class? Why are we breathing in this room together? So recognizing that without others, we wouldn't be here. So to have gratitude for the gifts that we've received from others. And even saying, they say that this body is borrowed. This sense of I doesn't even really exist. So contemplating in this way, we see that everything we have, everything we think of as me and mine, is actually a gift of others. So don't take this for granted. It's interesting. It's interesting. And then also feeling grateful for our teachers, the wisdom teachings or other teachers we've had, but also spiritually feeling gratitude for those who have awakened, like Buddha, Shakyamuni, the Bodhisattvas, all these kind of saints and sages who have broken through the delusion and helped us find our way as well. Could we have done this ourselves? Like, I would often think that when I was reading Dharma in the early days. It's like, wow. I thought it was pretty cool, but like, I couldn't have come up with that myself, like Buddha needed to do that. I wasn't going to be the one, unfortunately. I like it and I get it, but would I have discovered it? No. So I'm going to just admit that and be grateful to Buddha or Lao Tzu or Krishna or Jesus. Those are all men. I know I just named all men. There's Mother Mary. There's Machigladran, there's Daha, there's also many women, we just don't hear about them as much. And the other thing I want to bring into this is that not only being grateful for others, especially our teachers, that seems obvious. Be grateful to the Buddhas, the sages, all those good people. But in the Lojong, the mind training teachings, they say actually be even more grateful to the so-called enemies in our life. Why do you think that is?
Teach you good lessons.
Teaches us lessons? Like what kind of lessons?
Patience and acceptance.
Patience, acceptance, compassion.
You're stuck.
Where you're stuck, shows you where you're stuck, like holds up a mirror. Yeah. So in that way, feeling even, some of these commentaries say feel even more gratitude to our enemies. We might not have like enemies, but we might have people who irritate us, right? So feel even more gratitude for those folks than we would for the Buddha. Doesn't that just seem like sacrilege? It's like, oh my God, really? But it's ballsy and it's true. Patience. Remember the story of Atisha? Remember Atisha? Atisha Dipamkara, the great 10th century Mahayana sage, scholar, practitioner who was all about bodhicitta, his spirit, this compassionate heart. He was invited to Tibet. He finally said, okay, I'll go. And he took an attendant with him. And the attendant, when he got to Tibet, the Tibetans were like, why did you bring this guy? He's such a, the word is cantankerous, but he was annoying. He was mean and irritable. And Atisha, why did you bring him with you up and over the Himalayas into Tibet? And he said, so I could practice patience. Would you take the most annoying person at work with you up and over the Himalayas on purpose? How many people have traveled in India? I mean, traveling in India is hard. And then if you're with an annoying person, I mean, I've lived in India for a year and we go on little excursions and whoa. Traveling in India really shows who you are. So that I feel that's kind of really what I want to leave you with. It's like, can you do that? Can you first be grateful for your body, this someone? Be grateful for others. Really practice more gratitude. A good friend of mine taught me this. She's a psychologist. She's an MDiv, and would always teach me some really cool things. But she's like, she lived with us for a couple of years, rented a room in my house, and I always thought of myself as a kind person. But she said, something, I think it was a hint. She's like, what I've been practicing in my life is giving more compliments than I would normally give. Finding ways to uplift the people around me more than I normally would. And I thought, wow, I think that's a hint that she wants me to do that too. And I took it as a good hint. And it's kind of showing my gratitude for people. Like you're in a meeting. First of all, say thank you so much for what you've done to prepare for this meeting, this project. Find ways where you can offer gratitude to people when you might not normally think that you would need to even. Because you mean something to people. You are important to them. You're important to yourself too. Give yourself love. And then value those people that you would normally want to hate on. Could you do that? Be even grateful to them because they teach you really how to practice Dharma. Really. Yeah. It's, I'm not saying I do this perfectly. Like this is a challenge for me too. So that is slogan number 13. 13. Be grateful to everyone. I remember once I was teaching this in San Francisco against the stream, and it just happened to fall on the week of Thanksgiving. I was remembering that as I was preparing for this. It's like, that was a fun class because we just couldn't believe it. I mean, all the weeks and the dates, it was totally unintended. But you could take this into your, every day could be Thanksgiving. Maybe one or two comments briefly. I know we've got a couple minutes actually. Thoughts about that? Yes and yes. You first.
Do you have any suggestions for
First say your name so that people can meet.
Suzanne?
Suzanne.
Do you have any suggestions for those situations where, you can have compassion for yourself, but then you kind of repeatedly let yourself down in a certain way? And it's that I find most difficult.
Yeah.
The places where we know better, but we fall.
Yeah, that's a good question. The question is, how you have compassion for yourself, but you keep falling, keep making the same mistake, and how do you continue to do that? I think that, how would you treat a friend? Maybe you wouldn't be so patient with a friend, or maybe you would be, right? Hopefully we would be. Maybe how would you treat a child, if he's making the same mistakes? This is the crux one. This one was asked also in the program I was in because there's some prayers we do often in some of these Tibetan practices where it's like, I vow to never, to not cause harm. Well, what if you cause harm yesterday and you're saying this again and again and again? But we have to have a certain degree of spaciousness, knowing that we're human and that your intention is to not do that. And then looking at the root of why you might be repeating certain behaviors. And that's where something like feeding your demons can be helpful with, or other types of modalities to help us get at the root of why we're stumbling again and again with that game. Because we do really need to heal from the root in order to uproot it. But really, I think we come to so much of our inner dynamics with harshness and criticalness. So I think that often softening around it and being, even though you said you are compassionate to a certain extent, see if you can stretch into even more spaciousness around it. And sometimes with things like that, we just get so tired of it. You're just going to wear yourself out. It might just be you have to stumble a few more times, and then you're like, I'm just so tired of doing that again. I'm not going to do that anymore. Yeah. Yeah. I hope that helps. Yeah.
My name's Ariane,
Marianne.
and I guess what I was thinking was, it seems like there's a trap that I sometimes fall into when I try too hard to be grateful, in that it almost feels like it's a certain repression of my like genuine frustration and
Yeah.
anger at a situation,
Yeah.
and that it's hard to know how to strike that balance between just a genuine, natural, authentic feeling of gratitude versus this sort of contrived repression gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something in there that you need to communicate, right? But then it's about skillful communication. So if there is an irritation or something under that's more true than the gratitude, I mean, what I've learned, I think a lot of us know, is that first, if you have to, like, if it's relational, you're talking about relational stuff, right? Yeah? Like with somebody else? No?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
I would say feed a demon around that. Because especially if it's geared back towards yourself, there's something in there, there's a message in there. Why are you irritated? Why are you irritated? And I'm not saying be grateful for all the aspects of yourself. Like, how about being grateful for the 2 legs that got you here? The heart that's beating, the 2 eyes that can see, the 2 arms that can embrace your loved one. Like, find the things you can be grateful for, but then also be sober and honest about what you're not grateful for. And then that also goes towards relationship, right? I mean, always, if you've got feedback or criticism to give, always start it with a compliment. Like, give some gratitude first. It works. It's way better. Like, just speaking from experience, say what is good first, and then say, and, not a but that there's something else I need to share. It's really, and then do it from your heart. What I've found is if I have to give some feedback that I'm really not wanting to give because I'm triggered around it, if I can find a way to feel like I'm speaking from compassion, from my heart, and a calming humanity, then that feedback is going to be much better received. And I think we could say the same thing about ourselves. I think for me that really works. It's like, can I say it from my heart? Can I say, I'm really hurt by what you did, instead of like, you fucking asshole, why did you do that? And be vulnerable. Being vulnerable. It's actually a very strong thing to do. Okay, yeah. So it is time. I'm grateful for you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and all of you. And for Hannah and Katie and everybody else who volunteered to set up. And let's take a moment to dedicate all of this energy we've cultivated through our chanting, our movement, our practice of meditating, and pondering, contemplating the Dharma. In some way, may it be of benefit in our life and ripple out those around us and spread in ways known and unknown. We offer this energy up for the benefit of all beings everywhere. Thank you. Normally, I would say I'm going to sit up here and take questions or ask new folks to come introduce yourselves, but because of my current health situation, I can't do that. I find I can be here for the hour and a half-ish, and then I've got to skedaddle. I'm hoping this changes very soon, but for now, I've got to, again, listen to my body, and I'm grateful for the clear communication it's giving me. I'm listening. Sometimes we have to really assure our body, okay, I'm listening, honey. I got you. I'm listening. So next week is the burn. I'm not going. I'll be here.
That's right.
And then, yeah, and then, so class is happening, burning